Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniXTCG, and today we are doing another primer. This is probably gonna be the last one for a little bit because I think after this we're kind of done with the meta for a little bit. But today we're gonna focus on Trafalgar Law because this is a unique deck that essentially gains a little bit of oomph every single time you print a low-cost green or red card that does something good. So with that being said, we are going to jump into that. I do want to say that as of this video, I'm probably already in Texas, and we will be, just doing our thing, hopefully taking our stab at another treasure cup, and hopefully doing better than last time. Fingers crossed. So it is what it is. That being said, yeah, I just want to be about the normal. If you want to join or help support the channel, join the collective community of Universe X, all you gotta do is go down, press that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button for all future updates, and comment letting me know about your thoughts. Set 2 is very, very close. Pre-release is going to be in a matter of a week at this point, and so everybody's going to start cracking those new juicy packs and having a good time with the new cards introduced to the game. And I'm here to do the same. We're going to be doing a lot of box openings and stuff, and yar. So let's jump into it. So when it comes to Law, like I said, pretty interesting because Law will be one of those leaders that is dictated in terms of how good he is by the cards allowed to be played. Anytime you get a low cost like red or green card with an on play effect, you're going to be able to find some use in Law. Anytime just a good on play effect gets printed into any low cost red or green card or any on play red or green card that's costed 5 or less, you're going to actually have more toys for Law to play with. So coming into this, just to explain, just in case you are new to the channel or you need a refresher on what Law does, activate main once per turn for 2 Dawn. If you have 5 characters, return one of your characters to your hand and then play one character with the cost of 5 or less on a different color as the return character. So you do have to flip-flop. That's the only real stipulation other than filling up your board. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the cards that Law adopted. This shouldn't be really of any surprise because we've gone over green and red before, so you might be able to pick out some of the prime targets. But first, you've got Machina. Machina is just the ability to activate main, rest this character, give up to one of your red characters at the cost of 1, 3,000 power during this turn. This is still going to be kind of a beast of an effect, and it's a 2k counter. So this is cool because you'll be able to get it in with blockers and then bounce the blockers back to play something else and then replay the blocker for 1. This is some of the things you'll be able to do because this is going to give 3k power to something. So, if you do have a blocker that's 1k, you give it 3k and all you have to do is don it up once and it is officially a swinger. So this is normally just a 2k, but it extends your ability to push and be that aggro Law. And on top of that, once you tap it, you don't even have to put the 1 cost back in your hand. Like maybe you have an Otama that you wanted to swing with, and you can bounce this back to your hand afterwards or bounce the Otama. There's a lot of plays. Law's a little big brain. The second card that it kind of adopts from this set is Curly to Dawn. Because Curly to Dawn, play it for 2, that's cheap. Then you can look at 5 cards at the top of your deck, get a 1 red, 1 cost. Almost a little tongue twister, and put it in your hand, and that's going to search Nami, that's going to search Otama, that's going to search Machina. So you're really cooking with the ability to search these 1-drops, just more consistency for Law. The next card, again, should not surprise anybody. It is Vista, and Vista is a just on play KO something with 3k power or less. This is going to be great for Law because you can just put it in and it's just like an unrestricted killer. I guess cost does kind of play into that. But yeah, Vista is just a very, very good come into play. Now, the last card I want to talk about, I know it's weird putting a vanilla in here, but this is the vanilla Zoro. 4 cost, 6k power, still susceptible to Jet Pistol, and due to its cost, susceptible to a lot of stuff anyway. However, Zoro is going to be able to come down. He's going to be searched off of both Nami, and he's going to be searched off of Bonnie because he's a Straw Hat Crew Supernova card. There's the other film cards, but I really haven't seen them being used in Law. I've seen like 1 gimmicky build. Maybe I can just do a little quick short for that. But essentially, this is just searchable by all of your searchers. It's 10k counter. It's easily played, and he's got decent stats for a good cost. So those are pretty much all the new cards that you can put in Law. Doesn't really gain much, but like I said, Law doesn't need much. It just needs good red and green cards with on-play effects or small costs. So moving forward to the returning, we have got Nami, just top 5 searcher for the Straw Hats. You already know. Then you've got Bonnie, top 5 search for the supernovas. Again, this overlaps with so many cards. Every Luffy and Zoro are both supernovas, and they're both Straw Hats. So Nami and Bonnie can search them, whereas Bonnie's searching out most of the other cards in this list. Next, you got Chopper. Chopper is, and we're going to talk about how many cards can search these out, but Chopper is searchable by both both Nami and Curly Dawn. You've got Beje, who's searchable by just Bonnie. Moving over to Otama, and those are the 2 blockers. Moving over to Otama, you've got her being able to -2 things, setting up for jet pistol plays. She is actually able to be searched by Curly Dawn. That's pretty tight. Searchable Otama's are always good. Or Otama's are always good. Moving over, they're playing Brook, because once again, Brook is bang for your buck. Brook, you can play him for 2, move the 2 Dawn to something you intend to swing with, and then you can bounce it back to play a green card. And he's still a 2K in hand. He can use that effect later. So Brook is actually a really cool trigger pull for Law, always has been, and searchable by Nami. Moving over to Killer. Killer is able to be searched by Bonnie, but it's a 2-cost blocker. And when your field is full enough, you just put a Dawn under it and ball. You've got Zoro, Rusher OG. You already know what it is. No, but for real, it's a really good card. Like, it's searchable by both searchers. Both Bonnie and Nami, and he's able to hit the rush. He's able to be tagged in, bouncing a green card to be able to tag in for rush, so that's always good. Next, you have Trafalgar Law, the one from the starter deck, because he's going to be able to come down and untap a supernova. So that's actually pretty tight, or Hearts Pirates. But the point is, he's going to be able to get those double attack strats in there for the Zoros, for the Luffys. It's pretty good. Sometimes even the advantage play if you want to untap a Bonnie and retap it. Then you've got, of course, Blocker Law. This card is instrumental in this deck because it's essentially like a slightly modified version of your leader. So you're going to be able to play him and then rebounce other stuff, and that doesn't have a color restriction, so it allows you to manipulate your board very much so freely. Next, we got X-Drake. There's a lot of better 4 costs in the game starting next set. So X-Drake just has so much more real estate in what it can destroy, and therefore it's usually played at 2. As like I've seen it universally at 2 for all these decks, so that you can just play it, kill your stuff, continue. And it's a body. Yeah, X-Drake just gains real estate next set. And then for the extras, normally you're gonna end up seeing Jet Pistol, generally maxed out copies, because it's just the clear removal for blockers, for semi-threats, and then you can Otama things lower and then hit them there. Now we're going to move over to, overused or underused. I said overused, sorry. I'm a Pokemon player at heart, so that's my bad. But what we got here is a Gordon. That Chin gets me out of the way every single time. But Gordon is a 1 cost, so he can fill up the board, allow you to use your stuff. He's a 1 cost, so you just easily drop him on the board, use your leader ability to swap, and then you can put him at the bottom of the deck to then just, do your thing, -3k on something. And minusing 3k on something is even better in this deck, because you can -3k on something and then swap out, and then play like a Vista. And Vista will just blow something from 6k down up because it's got -3. Or you can pair it with Jet Pistol to get rid of 9ks, which is very nice when you're looking at things like Mihawks on the board or anything that's really up at that stat level. So Gordon hits pretty well. And it's a 1-drop, so you can search out with Curly Dawn. Another card that's kind of on the fringe is Monkey D. Luffy. He's a little fat for this deck, paying 5, but most of the time you're going to be switching him in with Law like you would X-Drake. It's just that by the time we get to this list, it's going to be a little more condensed, and so you're sacrificing some of your rush like Luffy in order to play other cards with more utility like Vista. Things lower on the ground, things that have more counter power, things like that. You can still play Basil. He's in every now and then every list. Well, he's in lists every now and then, but once again, he is a little high, and he, you can be playing low to the ground threats. When you draw too many 5 costs and stuff like that, you're going to be at a hand where you can't fully flood the board to get your stuff rolling. So you always kind of want to run a good mixture of lobies to fill up your board, and then hopefully your searches really get you there on top of being able to add these bigger cards to your hand to cheat them out. Then of course you got 8-drop Kid, and 8-drop Kid is just the de facto cap, on your strategy. your deck doesn't have a lot of life. Sometimes you'll get harassed pretty hard, and Kid is what you need to put a stem to that. You have a lot of blockers in this deck, so you can usually build the wall around Kid, and then Kid will prevent you from being touched. And once that's established, you have a lot of leeway to be able to just keep juggling your field while they can't attack, or they can't attack your cards. And then Kid is one of those decks, or sorry, Law is one of those decks where you're going to build up a massive hand if you're already doing well. And so protecting this Kid becomes very easy. So those are the cards. Let's move into the summary and closing. This one's a little short because not really many new things have come in, but I know Law is a very popular deck, so I still wanted to get this in there regardless. So yeah, it's pretty interesting that the deck is still able to make its tops because, like I said, I guess this is not interesting. Some decks will get power crept, but Law's effect was just absurd by nature. I think, honestly, the thing that's going to test Law more than anything in the future of this game is just that it's going to be running out of deck spaces. Eventually, new cards are going to come out, and you're going to have to start cutting cards you previously thought were staple in order to include the new staples. And that's going to be the hardest part about Law's deck building. You only have so much deck. So, with that being said, Law will be an asset for quite the long time, because they're not just going to stop printing good cards that happen to be in red and green. And it's like anytime we get a new Searcher in green or red, we have to evaluate it. A new Curly to Dawn in green could potentially search your Beges and your Bonnies, you know? Like, you need to look at every Searcher. You need to look at every come into play effect. You need to look at strong effects that can be tapped or anything like that. All come into play effects can potentially be cheated out by Law if they're low enough on the cost. So Law is just one of those things where it's not a matter of did Law get support, because generic cards can be support. You just need to reevaluate it. If you're a Law player, you have to look at every set's two colors very intensely. And you can probably invest in this deck. Like, if there was any deck to invest in, I think it's the leader that has a very generic ability that has nothing to do with archetypes. It has something to do with colors and cost. Now granted, there could be bad formats. Like, if there's a deck that just does supreme aggro, Law may struggle, especially if that deck can get past all of its blockers. But otherwise, Law's just one of those decks that kind of does the darn thing. So, I hope you guys found this video informative if you were a Law player doing the things, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. And right before we go, I'm going to roll the ad. If you guys want a place to pre-order future products like starter decks, boxes, cases, as long as you're early enough, or you want to know where you could buy singles on TCG Player or even sell cards, and I'm not just talking about One Piece, I'm talking about pretty much any TCG you can think of, I have a store for you. Besides that, after the ad goes, the credit goes, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned. So let's talk about our sponsor, Mystic TCG, your one-stop shop for all of your trading card game needs. On their site, you can buy or pre-order starter decks, boxes, even cases, as long as you try to give it about 3 to 4 months ahead of time for the pre-orders, because sometimes the product's a little too hot to keep on the shelves. If you want singles, you can go over to their TCG Player website where you'll find nothing but product and great reviews. And if you even want to sell your collections, just hop on over to their Facebook page and message them directly, and you get a price worked out for you, best bang for your buck. And you know what? While you're here, let me throw you a little something extra. If you want 5% off of any purchases made on the site, make sure you use the link in the description, or at checkout, use the code WORSTGEN. That'll be on the screen as well, and I hope you find something you like with Mystic TCG.